Major problems with modern society. One of the first major problems is that we have solar power, wind power, biofuels, geothermal energy, and water power, and many other energy sources, yet we still kill each other over oil. And it's all just for money. Speaking of natural sources, from what I've been told, is that there is a cure for cancer, but they can't profit off cures. The only way they can make money is by half-assed treatments. Unless you're super rich or super famous, you can't get the best medical treatment. This relates to the reason that marijuana isn't legalized everywhere also. Profit. They'd rather sell you prescription drugs. Now, I've been on many pills for depression, anxiety, bipolar, ADD, and what have you. And every single pill I tried gave me major side effects, like suicidal thoughts, low blood pressure, weight gain, weight loss, and much more. But I've also smoked marijuana for recreational and medical purposes for years. The side effects of marijuana? There were none. And no, marijuana doesn't always make you lazy. I memorized the periodic table in alphabetical categorization while I was high. In addition to that, as far as hemp goes, hemp serves many purposes, like fuel for cars, clothes, cement, biodegradable plastics, protein for food, paper, and much more. But of course, society doesn't always use hemp because they're greedy and they can't make as much money off of it. The second biggest problem is that everyone usually believes everything the media says. That's why they publicize things like keeping up with the Kardashians instead of actually telling us about what's going on with the radiation spill in Fukushima. Media likes to distract us with stupid crap, like Miley Cyrus dancing half naked at the VMAs. They try to distract us from the important things, like for instance our food being poisoned with GMOs, constantly. And have you noticed that if a celebrity smokes crack, she goes to rehab? But if a normal person like me or you does anything wrong, we go to jail. So much for equality. And if you want change, don't bother voting for our next president. Because anyone who runs for president is after power. And anyone who wants power never has good intentions. And it's pretty sad how anyone who even talks about or mentions the Illuminati or extraterrestrials or how they're releasing chemicals into the sky, or talks about the New World Order, or any other conspiracy theory, usually labeled as crazy. Wake up, guys! Because there's so much we don't know about that stuff that's being covered up. Like, if you don't believe me about some of the stuff that's being hidden from us, just look at all the subliminal messages that they're putting in children's TV shows and movies. It's crazy. If you don't believe me, look it up for yourself. Also, if you know who this is, but not this, there might be a problem. The third major problem is just because you're religious doesn't make you a good person. Because a nice atheist is always better than a disrespectful Christian. For example, what I find funny is how everybody is fighting over which religion is more peaceful. And I hate when people say that gay marriage is against their religion. Saying gay people can't get married because it's against your religion, it's stupid. That's like me telling you that you can't have a donut just because I'm on a diet. The fourth major problem is that we kill animals for stupid reasons. We harm animals so harshly just for testing. And if you saw the way they raise animals and the violent ways they kill them, you'd never want to eat meat again. I mean, I would go vegetarian because of it. But I can't give up chicken McNuggets. You know what's also fucked up? Is that we can kill a dog because he bites a person, and we can test on innocent animals, but if a man rapes a woman, he gets sent to prison for like 15 years, then usually gets set free. Why can't we test on pedophiles and serial killers instead of innocent animals? And I just have to mention about all the GMOs that they're putting in our food. And the way I see it is that since we got along so far in evolution without eating food that's genetically modified, we obviously can do without them. And on the other hand, not to mention, the fluoride in almost all of our water is harmful. Fluoride is the main ingredient in Prozac and the active toxin in rat poison. It prematurely ages the body, accumulates in fat cells, and causes osteoporosis and many other harmful things. Even federal health agencies have known these facts for years. But hey, maybe that's the government's point, is to poison us to decrease the population. Just a theory. Now, I'm no hippie that goes save the rainforest, but I do think that it's ironic. We cut down trees to make paper, to write on that paper, save the trees. The fifth major problem is that society has all these unrealistic expectations of women. And men too. But as for girls, they put all these anorexic models on TV so we constantly see them, so we're brainwashed into wanting to look like them. So then we go out and buy hundreds of dollars of makeup and hair products just so we can struggle to feel good about ourselves. And the way I see it is no matter what you look like, people will always have something to say. If you're skinny, they'll call you an anorexic twig and tell you to eat more. But if you're a little overweight, they'll call you a fat ass and tell you to stop eating. Face it, there's no winning. Just be happy with who you are, because even if you change, society will always have something to say. And what sucks for guys is they're always being called gay, just for showing any sign of emotion. And by doing that, it usually just turns most guys into emotionless, robotic assholes, because they're too busy trying to act all alpha and manly. Newsflash, guys, you're only human, so it's okay to show some emotion. We're too busy judging each other's differences to acknowledge our similarities. The sixth major problem? We have millions of dollars to advertise for starving kids, but no money to feed them? And why are we donating to other countries when we still have poverty in our own? In fact, there shouldn't be poverty at all anywhere. Because if you want to get technical, we do have enough food to feed the entire world. But this can't happen because money and greed gets in the way. I think the most fucked up thing is that all American soldiers are labeled as brave and good, but any foreign soldier is automatically labeled as violent and a terrorist. Newsflash, killing is wrong no matter what color flag you are wearing. We're constantly being told that the USA has the most freedom and that all the other countries are filled with poverty and they're all being brainwashed. Well, how do you know that other countries aren't being told the exact same thing, and that we're actually being brainwashed? The seventh major problem is that everyone is so addicted to technology. They'd rather text somebody, "I love you," than write them a love letter. The eighth major problem is both cyber and real-life bullying. When you're getting bullied online, you can't just turn your computer off, because when you turn your computer back on, it'll still be there. And even if you block them, they can just make another account. I've been both the instigator and the victim of real-life bullying as well. And I can honestly claim that most of the schools do not give a shit. And that's why studies prove that bullying is the leading cause of teenage suicide. And regarding schools, I find it pretty lame how they limit and control what we learn. In school, we're judged on how well we can memorize the things we are told. And according to schools, if we can't memorize those things, we're labeled as failures. Well, in my opinion, grades don't determine intelligence. They teach us about pointless things like quadratic equations, but never teach us about what's really going on in the world. School isn't about learning anymore. School teaches us to conform and obey authorities without questioning. They want us to be smart enough to do the work, but still stupid enough to not question the work. They don't teach us the important things in school. I'm graduating in less than a year and I still don't know how to pay taxes or balance a checkbook. And the last major problem is that this generation of teenagers and kids is just awful. Almost every child by the age of 8 years old swears like a sailor. And there's way too many 12-year-old girls twerking on the internet and posting provocative pictures on Facebook. Which just makes it worse for young boys because they're already surrounded by slutty images of women everywhere. And the last thing we need is more horny, disrespectful guys in this world. Because I'm sick of hearing all these 13-year-old boys claiming that they get all the bitches. And since you can't lay a finger on your child nowadays without risking going to jail, you can't discipline them. Maybe that's why this generation is so crazy. Giving your kid a spanking isn't child abuse. It's called parenting.
It doesn't make sense to me. Is everybody going crazy?